Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Irons United's match preview. This weekend, we face Burnley away from home after not a great run of form, not won a game in the last 6 in all competitions, but we do face a struggling Burnley side who have also been defeated in the last 3 games. It has been a while. We have not been regular with our videos. I know Still put out a video recently apologising, saying we'll be coming back with more videos, and fingers crossed we will be, just life gets in the way and sometimes that's what happens. So please tune in and get your comments in below. We are live tonight. Of course, I am Anton, I'm joined by Matt, and I am joined by Still. Matt and Still, I'll give it straight over to you, Matt. Burnley away from home, where are you at with this?
Oh, I want to say I'd take a draw because I think our general form at Burnley, home and away, is awful at the moment. Like, you go back the last couple of seasons, but realistically, we can't afford a draw. If we lose this game, I think that means we haven't won this period of international break. Having come off such a hot form the previous one, we'd have come just not won at all. So we need a win. I would have taken a draw if we'd have won last week, but now we have to go for the win. But then so do Burnley, so guarantee it'll probably be like a stinky 0-0.
Absolutely. Still, I mean, Burnley away from home.
Well, what can I say? I mean, I'm thinking the same as Matt. We need this win. We need it. We need this more than ever. Even to go into international break with a win under our belts. Otherwise, you can imagine the feeling in the team. Having gone through this whole period, 6-7 games without a win, 2 draws, it will be quite difficult to come back from that, to be really honest with you. And we're really desperate for a win, and Burnley is not the great place to go to get a win.
No, it's certainly not. I mean, in recent weeks, both Burnley and West Ham have been struggling for form. We are going to talk about West Ham in a minute, but let's bring Burnley into the equation. Not so long ago, Matt, Sean Dyche was tipped to be the next big thing in the Premier League. I think many people in our group in particular thought, why are we not going for a manager like that? But what do you think the European tour really put a stumbling block on the following seasons, I suppose you could say, which it happened last year, and they've not really bounced back from it as much, have they?
I think the thing for them is that I think their owners and like Sean Dyche, they have like an actual plan of where they want to go. Yeah. Rather than our owners that just went, we're going to play Champions League in 5 years. They've gone, no, we're going to slowly build. And I think, honestly, last year, or was it the year before, when they got Europe, I think they done it too quickly. And it's, no offence, it's Burnley. It's not exactly the most attractive place to bring players in. We get away with it a bit, the calibre of players we bring in, because we're playing in London, regardless of what we are. You've got London, Manchester and Liverpool. And even if Burnley were playing in Europe, with the teams that were around, they were struggling to bring in the players that necessarily would take them to that next level. And he did really, I think the season they had Europe, I think he brought in 2 players, which isn't enough. Like Wolves have seen this year, Wolves have struggled because you need a big squad of quality players. He does well with what he's got, and I think he probably is overachieved with what he's got, really. I'd say him and Hodgson at Palace are 2 managers that do really well with what they've got.
Yeah.
I'd still take him at us because I think he'd get more out of what we've got.
Really,
it's a difficult one.
Really? Would you really take Sean Dyche?
Defensively, we'd be a lot better. And there was that season they went finishing Europe. I'm sure they scored the goal of the season, and it was 30, 40 passes that ended up with them scoring a goal.
Yeah.
So Sean Dyche proved when he had the players and the time he was there, he could play football.
Yeah.
So if he had the players, could he do it? Yeah. But at least you'd definitely be more secure defensively than we are right now, which is everyone just parts the Red Sea and lets people walk through on goal.
Yeah, for me, I kind of disagree with that because I think I see Sean Dyche as a bit more of an Allardyce type of manager, and it's we've been crying out for many a year to have a manager that can bring the best out of our attacking prowess, and I don't see him being that type of manager. For me, he's more like an Allardyce than he is, and despite what's going wrong with us at the moment, and we're not showing any attacking force, let alone any defensive prowess, but he wouldn't be the sort of manager I'd have at West Ham, to be honest with you.
I mean, get your comments in below. Let us know your thoughts on Sean Dyche. I mean, would you take him at West Ham with all this talk? We'll come on to this talk about Pellegrini out, malarkey stuff in a minute. But Burnley have lost, obviously I mentioned, the last 3 league games on the spin. But of course they've been given an injury boost. And of course it's that man, Chris Wood, who looks like he's going to be available. Sean Dyche has confirmed that there's going to be every chance he could be involved for the game against Saturday. Which is a major concern, of course, for West Ham because he commences in all his games he's recently played. I think he scored in each of the league matches against West Ham last season, and he also managed 3 goals in the 2 appearances against us the season before. He's a sort of player, he's a powerful attacker, he links up play with his strength next to his teammate, and also another threat in front of goal, Ashley Barnes, who is also a clinical finisher. Matt, is that going to be our problem considering our defensive frailties?
I'm genuinely worried we're going to get absolutely digged Saturday. I'm genuinely worried because those first 2 goals that Newcastle scored against us on Saturday were set plays, and in fairness to them, I was angry because we don't do it. They actually had a set play, they had a routine, they put the big men up, and they played it. And the first goal was a brilliant goal. The second goal, they just chucked it back in for the big man. I don't know what Roberto was doing. But if that's Newcastle, who don't really focus on it that much, but they make sure they know what they're doing, you go against a Sean Dyche team, we're going to get absolutely battered. If any set piece they get from the halfway line onwards, they're going to be putting in that box.
Yep.
I would play 3 at the back tomorrow, on Saturday, because we're going to need the centre-backs. I generally think we're going to get absolutely battered and bombarded from crosses and set pieces all game.
Still, we will come on to West Ham in a minute, but I mean, what are your thoughts on Chris Wood returning? I mean, it's obviously a timely boost for Burnley, let alone it's the fact against the club that he likes to score against. Of course, we are West Ham, so remember, any player that has a history either against us or for us, or once nearly signed for us, etc. It's just always that they step up at the time.
I'm kind of with Matt on this. I think our ability to defend balls into our area is woeful. It's been every team that plays that kind of football is going to stand a really good chance against us. And Matt's absolutely right. The way Newcastle last week, Matt, you said their first goal was a well taken goal. We made it too easy for them because I think we had, I don't know if it was the first goal. I think we had Creswell.
It
was Creswell.
Kieran Clark.
Yeah. I mean, what a mismatch. What I don't understand is when we're on the training pitch, what is Pellegrini saying to the central defenders, the taller players? Why is he not telling them to pick up the big players on the opposition side? It was such a mismatch that Creswell was trying to. It was never going to happen. And then that second goal was a goalkeeping error. We know that Roberto's been absolutely slated, and God knows why he came out. But maybe there's a lack of trust and a lack of understanding between the defence and the goalie. So I'm kind of with Matt, and with Chris Wood coming back, he's strong and he's gonna enjoy playing against our defence. Really, yeah.
You've got, there's a point in it in the league. West Ham sit currently 13th at 13 points. Burnley sit 14th with 12 points. You look at Burnley's record, they played 11, they've won 10, they've lost 5, they've scored 14, they conceded 18 with 3 clean sheets. In comparison to West Ham, played 11, won 3, lost 4, scored 14, conceded 17 with 3 clean sheets. There's really not much to tell there. But if you'd looked at the season at the start, you would have thought, after a great start to the season and listening to pundits, and because on our day, and we'll come to West Ham in a minute, on our day, when we play really well, we do look great, we really do. But then obviously we have that bipolar side of West Ham where we'll come up against a struggling Burnley and go to Turf Moor and obviously get defeated. What else do we know about Burnley, Matt? I mean, what is it to watch out for on Saturday?
Well, we know they're going to play 4-4-2. You know the back four generally don't push out at all. Like, they'll afford you that. Their thing is they'll work the wings, whether it's someone like a Goodmanson or an Aaron Lennon, and they will put balls in the box. They might look for an overlap from the fullback if the opportunity's there. Like Sean Dyche, they won't commit. They won't do what we do and just overcommit for the sake of it. If the pressure's on, they'll do it, but they won't overcommit, and they're just going to work the wings, work the set pieces, and put balls in the box.
Yeah.
If they're under pressure, they'll put the ball down the channel behind the fullback and let the centre forward chase it, and that'll get them up the pitch again. It would surprise me a lot if you saw Burnley come out and playing football. It generally would.
Yeah.
I can't see them doing it. For me, it's everything we hate playing against. We said about Allardyce earlier. When we had Allardyce, we were physical, we were big, we had pace and power. We were like a team of like Antonio and Kouyaté, basically. And then since Bilic has come in, we've got rid of that pace and power, and we've gone for these small, short, technical players. But we've lost the pace, we've lost the power. And we go away to these teams, even at home to these teams, that have the physicality, and they just bully us. Completely bully us off the pitch.
Yeah. But still,
and that's what they'll do. It's not hard.
Still, what is your biggest concern when it comes to Burnley on Saturday? I think in recent months in particular, or even like the tail end of last season, you've kind of been more of a half pint full than a half pint empty kind of West Ham fan. I'm intrigued to hear what you want to say. Have we lost Stell?
I think we have.
I think we've lost Stell. Well, while we're waiting for Stell to come back, guys, I thought it was a good question. I mean, where are you at, Matt? Are you a half pint empty, a half pint full West Ham fan? Do you see the
it's very. I suppose it's like West Ham. It's most of us. When we're playing well, it's amazing. When we're playing crap, it's like, like at the moment, it is absolutely awful. We are playing badly. Oh, there we go. He's back.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, just keep talking. Matt, go for it.
It depends on the weekend. It depends on the weekend. Because if we have a crap weekend, I'm like, oh, we're awful. But there's something we lose. But the last couple of games, there's nothing positive about.
Yeah.
Like, at least we were going to the play well and weren't scoring. You're like, well, we're playing well. At the moment, we're not doing it. There's positives there, but it's hard to see the negatives weigh them so.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
We can, mate. Yeah.
Don't know what happened there, but anyway, we'll just carry on. I was just saying there to Matt Stell that you recently have been more of a half pint full than a half pint empty West Ham fan. So when it comes to the setup and where West Ham are on Saturday, we are of course going to come on to West Ham in a minute, but what is it you fear the most when it comes to Burnley? Well,
I think probably Matt's just picked up on this. It's their set pieces, isn't it? They've got the players that will the style of football that they'll play is set piece play. I don't know if they've got as much. I didn't think Newcastle had much pace, but I don't think Burnley have quite as much. So I think they're going to go. I think it's going to be I think that what they're going to try and do is they're going to try and bully us out of the game, aren't they? And our players at the moment don't seem to be able to any kind of physical. It's not just now, is it? We haven't got any players we're better than we've been better than several of the teams, Sheffield. So my fear is going to be very much they're going to tear out the game.
Well,
Very much.
West Ham, let's just give us some stats on both sides. Burnley have won 2 of the last 3 Premier League games against West Ham, having won just 1 of the first 7 against them in the Premier League. West Ham's 2-0 loss away at Burnley last season was only one of the 5 Premier League meetings between the signs at Turf Moor that hasn't seen both teams score. Burnley have obviously lost each of their last 2 Premier League games, conceding 9 goals in the process. And after a run that saw us lose just 1 in 11 Premier League matches, we have failed and we have lost 3 of our last 4 in the Premier League.
And I'm getting messages. I don't know if you want to check the stream. Does everything look all right from there?
Just you carry on talking. Let me just have a listen, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, lads. What you just said about exactly what I said. I said if you look back to when we had while we didn't have the technical, we had the pace and the power. Now we've got those technical players, but we haven't got that ability to compete and tackle. And when we play the big teams, we struggle.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Sorry, lads. People are saying that there's really bad feedback coming online. So I don't know if we can try and fix that to see if we can get the sound sorted. Hammerwell is saying someone is heavy breathing and the rest is just echoing.
Oh, was it an echo again?
It's an echo and a lot of heavy breathing.
OBS, unfortunately, guys, we've not used this for a while, so OBS takes a while for it to come on so I can hear it live. So still, Matt, if you just keep going, I won't be able to tell unless you just keep talking, guys, so keep going.
Anne, have you got your phone on volume? It may be coming from that. People don't mind the heavy breathing. There you go. Bit weird, but there you go. They can't handle the echo.
Guys, don't worry, we're nearly there. It's just because when Stell went off, we had to renew the thing. So
yeah, so it's Stell's fault.
Yeah, blame Stell. Right, guys, we need just to keep talking so I can actually hear.
Better now. Apparently, it's better now.
There you go.
Don't touch anything.
You fixed it. Don't touch anything.
And come back. All is forgiven.
So,
right, I think we're back.
Yeah, I think like you said, Stel, it's just going to be. I said it's going to be. They're going to work the wings and chuck balls in. I think you're right with the set pieces as well.
Yeah.
They're going to look to disrupt the play. They're not going to let us make any. They're not going to try and compete in a passing game. No. They're going to do those stupid, annoying, niggly tackles, breaking up the play, stopping the momentum. And they're just going to look for the long ball, win the first ball, win the second ball, get up the pitch, work the wings and chuck balls in.
I think, it's interesting that, when we played Sheffield, I kind of understood some of the team selection that Pellegrini went for, because he knew they were going to be a physical team. And that's why I think he brought in the likes of Balbuena and Zabaleta again, because I think he thought
I'm going to have to interrupt you on that because, How can Zabaleta?
Let me explain.
Right.
I don't agree with it, but let me explain. I think because he thought it was going to be a physical game, he thought that potentially Zabaleta would withstand a more physical game against the than Fredericks. That's why I think he brought him in. But he thought we'd gain in that, we kind of lost in terms of our speed. The only thing is I didn't understand why he did it against Newcastle, and I'd be very, very, very surprised if he does it for Burnley. But Burnley are going to be a physical team. But I think the best way of dealing with that is to hit them with speed, because I don't think they'll keep up with us on speed.
But I have to rewind to the start of the season when I think even like last season, one of the biggest issues West Ham have got is consistency in team selection. So I get the point about strength, but it doesn't work. West Ham don't have strength and depth to be able to handle that equation. So therefore, I want the best player on his day to play for West Ham, and therefore I don't think Fredericks deserved to be dropped. I think that was a tactical decision that really did put egg on Pellegrini's face, because the minute I seen that Zabaleta was on that field, and we all seen it, Sheffield United attacked. It didn't matter he had enough strength. They attacked that corner. They did the exact same in Newcastle. We made Newcastle literally the front three players. Like when you listen to even the highlights at the end of the day, and you listen to the pundits, they're saying that these three guys were like what they should have been doing for Newcastle all season. But I don't think Newcastle will continue doing that. It's because they came up against West Ham and Zabaleta. And unfortunately, I'm not going to blame one man, right? I'm not. But every attack went down that wing all the time. Now quickly, my point only is we need consistency in team selection. That's what it comes down to. This whole dropping and starting Fredericks is not good for his mental state. It's not good for Lanzini's mental state. It's not good for anyone's fucking mental state. It doesn't make sense in my opinion.
I don't think he knows what his best 11 is or what his best formation is. And it's almost like, rather than trying to fix the situation during a game, he's letting the game play out and then going, what did I do wrong last game? Make sure I don't do that this game. Rather than looking at the team coming up and going, what do I need to do against the team I'm playing? It's like, where we haven't won in like 6 games, he's gone panic stations and going, right, the mistakes we made last game, we're not going to make this game, so we're going to rectify it. Everyone knew. I said to my dad, like, before the game kicked off, we're going to get absolutely battered down that side. I went, Sam Maxim is just going to absolutely annihilate Zabaleta. And it won't be Zabaleta's fault, because defensively and tactically, he's a great player. He still is. But he's got no legs. If that Sam Maxim was doing skills and, you know, outskilling Zabaleta and nicking it past him every time, you could say, like, no, you need to stand up and be stronger. But
it was basic football, man.
They literally just chipped over his head.
Literally.
Yeah. Shelby come out and said after the game, like, I think it was in Monday, he come out and said, he went, but the game before, we looked at where we could exploit West Ham, and they have slow players and play a high back line. So we spent a week working on playing balls over the top down the wing to get behind them. Like, if Steve Bruce can see that that's the problem, and we could see it, Pellegrini needs to change it. Like you said, I don't think Fredericks was one that should have been dropped. I also don't really think Ogbonna should have been dropped, to be honest.
Well, it's interesting you say that. Someone's put that in the comments, haven't they?
I think that he was hard done by.
I don't want to start this whole debate about Ogbonna and who's better, etc. But I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Ogbonna has actually not done much wrong this season. To being dropped, and the problem being is he always looks uncomfortable when he plays on the left side of the centre backs. He doesn't look as comfortable as he does when he plays on the right side of centre back. You know, so that's thrown Diop's game out. Balbuena's back. He hasn't exactly been in great shape. He hasn't been any better or any worse than Ogbonna. So why change it? I couldn't understand that.
We had that really crap game against Everton, and it's almost like we played so badly that he went, well, we've got to make changes.
Yeah.
And when you look back to that game, like, Roberto made a mistake for the first goal, but then he made some really good saves after and made up for it. Bonner and Diop did nothing wrong, and the rest of them were crap. And it was like, of all the players to change, you chose the centre-back partnership, which, realistically, in that game, wasn't the issue.
But the but is, we all know that Pellegrini does favour the Balbuena-Diop partnership. So whether, you know, we can have this debate, like you said, still as well, but I'd maybe go against the grain if I said we should drop Ogbonna and put Balbuena in and go against the point I was trying to make. But I don't see that. People are talking that I think there'll be a rumour that Ogbonna will come back in.
I'd play all three.
I don't know, mate.
Yeah, but you know he doesn't play that formation.
Yeah.
You know he never plays a 3 at the back.
No, he won't.
So he will go with a 4. But I think what he'll try and do is he'll try and change it further up the pitch. So he might go for a 4-3-3. He might go for a 4-4-2. But if he goes for a 4-4-2, it's going to be very interesting to see who he decides to pick in the centre of midfield. Well, because if you play a 4-4-2, you can't have Noble and Rice.
You can't.
You've got to have Rice with another player.
I read today that apparently the rumour is he is going to play 4-4-2.
Right.
And that he's going to play Ajeti and Haller up front.
Well,
I mean, when I look at like the team selection, I was thinking about it through the week. I was talking to my dad about it, and I was thinking, you've got a player like Yarmolenko who is extremely skillful, who can hold up play, who likes to take a shot, who's got a history of playing up front, and I look at him partnering Sebastian Haller up top. I think about bringing Felipe Anderson's he's getting slated, but he's out it just doesn't suit that position. His best form was when he was playing through the middle last Christmas. And like Stell said, you need to drop either one of Rice or Noble. As much as it pains me, and I'm not going against Noble on his day, is fantastic, but now the last 6 games or 5 games, something needs to change.
It's a tactical change.
Yeah.
It's a tactical change, not a personal change.
Yeah.
You know.
And
For me,
you've got
Noble,
Anderson
not
there.
Rice.
You're bringing Rice in behind him to protect it, and then you're building the rest of the team in and around that. But for me, like you said, my concern is that it's going to be a Jetty, but I'm not arsed as long as 2 are up top, because I think West Ham, we need to change the tactics, and Haller needs to be supported, because currently we're not feeding the ball to him. In my opinion, if you put Anderson in the middle, he will be the penetrator between the midfield and the forward line.
It doesn't help for Anderson. Like if you watch back from the game at the weekend, like I made the point in the comments on our chat at the weekend. Every time they went forward 1-on-1, it was Anderson was the guy that was tracking back to make the tackle.
Yeah.
So he can't do much going forward when like every 10 minutes he's making a 70-yard sprint back because no one else was tracking back to block the 1-on-1. He's better off when he had, and I like Creswell at left back, but he was better off with Masuaku at left back purely because Masuaku had the pace to go beyond the fullback, and dragging the fullback wide would then allow Anderson to cut inside.
But Matt, why do you want, why does it, and I know everyone is the long debate about these sort of players tracking back, but Anderson is that luxurious player that, you know, maybe West Ham can't afford to have, but we've got him, so let's play him in his best position. Let's play him up top, close to, in behind the strikers, where his first thought, when Anderson gets that ball, his first thought is to outpace those players, be a tricky player, try and penetrate a pass. It doesn't work well on the wing. He needs to be through the middle, in my opinion, and I think that's where Pellegrini needs to make some of his big changes as well. Still,
I still think.
See, for me, I think, you know, I get putting maybe someone like Yarmolenko alongside Haller, but for me, I think, you know, and I sort of touched on it on my show on Sunday night, I think the person to play through the middle, not alongside Rice, but closer to Haller, is what you said, and is Anderson. I think Anderson driving down the middle and having someone like maybe Snodgrass and Rice just behind, and putting Lanzini out wide and Yarmolenko the other side, play it narrow, you know, and play it through them, and then you can get the overlapping, you know, with Fredericks on one side. I wouldn't put Masuaku. I'd put Creswell for that defensive, for being more defensive minded, you know. And that way, if we play it through them and play it through them at speed, look at the teams that have done well against us recently. They've just been playing at speed against us, you know, and that's what we need to do. We were doing this at the beginning of the season, you know, and there was an awful lot of interchange with our front players that we now don't see. You know, there were times, I think the first few games of the season, we were seeing Anderson and Yarmolenko and Lanzini switching all the time. None of them were staying put. You know, 1 minute you've had Anderson on the left, then on the right, then in the middle, etc. We kind of stopped doing that. We've seemed to have lost our... Either Pellegrini is telling them not to do that, or we've lost the belief that we're able to do that. You know?
I think it's that. I think you'll find it's the belief. I think where we've started making mistakes, we've lost some games. They now don't have the confidence to go, we can do this. I think they're more worried about the fact now if they do it and they make a mistake, because we're shipping so many goals, they're worried about what's going on behind them.
But Matt, in anything in life, in amateur football and professional football, whatever level you play at, if you play a game and you're dropped in that next game, your head goes down. It's a common fact. Now, we have signed up Lanzini to this brand spanking new contract to be one of our star players. He, in my opinion, I'm sorry, I don't care, he did not deserve to get dropped against Sheffield United. He did not deserve that. Not start that game.
That did confuse me, because you knew if you'd watched any of their games this season, you knew that they played 5-4-1, the same as Newcastle, and they sat back and they played.
Yeah.
Although they can play good football at times, they will play away from home.
Yeah.
Like we expect Burnley to tomorrow. They play the set pieces and the long balls.
Yeah.
And you knew you needed one of Lanzini or Fornals to break them down.
Isn't there rumour that Lanzini has fallen out with Pellegrini, or is that just rumour? I mean,
I think it's just rumour.
I mean, to be honest, I don't even look at rumours anymore. I can't be honest. So
I heard it once from like a really random source, and I just think someone was just looking for a reason to go. There's no reason he should have dropped Lanzini. I reckon that's why someone just made it up.
Right. I also saw a video clip of a fan who sat in the stadium and filmed Lanzini for 5 minutes solid, and all Lanzini did was stay in the centre circle. Now, that's shit to even try and judge, because the fans just chosen Lanzini in a moment of play. Yes, okay, we want to see the players driving all over the shop, doing everything they can do, but Lanzini is not, in my opinion, that lazy player. That fan chose a 5-minute clip of Lanzini where he didn't do much in the game against Newcastle and was like, what a waste of money this guy is. But that's just shit. Shit.
Did he watch the first 60 minutes of the game? Because he could have fucking looked at anyone in the first 60 minutes of the game. It would look exactly the same.
Exactly, and that's the point about this. Like, I think this is where you could potentially look at things like rumours that start. You think Lanzini's been dropped, then you look at him and he looks like he's not arsed on the pitch. But in actual fact, he was, fucking the boy's dropped.
In all fairness, you want to see him. Like, if we were getting battered for most of the start of the game, even start of the second half. And if we're going to more defensive, you want to see him up near the centre circle still, because then he's an outlet when we're trying to break on the counter.
That's exactly it, which is why he was in the centre circle in the first place.
Exactly. It's just things like that. Just are really, really frustrating. But listen, let's talk about team selection. We'll come on to Pellegrini in a minute, but Roberto's a concern for me. I think he's a concern for most fans. I've got to give him a chance. We've tried to give him a chance, but his errors are... I mean, I know you said, Matt, he made up by saving, but he's still conceding shit goals and
he's awful.
It's not great. I'm not saying Pellegrini's going to do this, but here's a question to you and question to the fans that are watching. Would you give David Martin a chance?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, no, God, no.
100%. Put it this way. At least David Martin was the goalkeeper in the Championship, and a lot of the teams in the Championship play long ball and they play crosses. If Roberto can't catch a cross that's coming from 50 yards,
and it looks like
when he's got the freedom of the box to come and get it, what's he going to do on Saturday when Burnley spend 90 minutes putting crosses and set pieces straight into the box?
You don't know that David Martin's going to be any better, and I'm sure...
But he's got experience in the Championship doing it. That's what I'd say. Like, typically, obviously, he's come from the continent where they don't play that style of physical crossing play and stuff, whereas he, like, at least in the Championship, he would have had experience at it. He can't do any worse than Roberto did against Newcastle, because you can say he saved them 2 1-on-1s in the first half, but I wouldn't say he saved them. That Sam Maxim missed them. That Sam Maxim is literally a speed demon, and both shots he had that Roberto saved, he hit straight at him. It wasn't like he put it to the side and like they made a good save. No.
I don't think you're giving him the credit. I'm not backing him up because I'm not defending him for the sake of defending him, but I don't think you're giving him the credit that he's due.
I mean, what I'm saying is that, like, apparently I never saw the replay of the goal against Sheffield United, but I was told he should have saved that. There was the first goal against Everton. He definitely should have saved that. You had 2 goals. Even though we played absolutely awful last week, if Fabianski was in goal, we would have won.
I think the reason why I think it's dangerous to put David Martin in is because it's another goalie that's going to have to get used to the defence, and the defence is going to have to get used to another goalie. And that will cause probably more disruption than we currently need. Roberto hasn't been great. He's had his moments of brilliance in terms of ironically keeping us in that game last week, keeping the score down to only 3. But 2 of those goals were errors. The free kick he should have had covered. He was badly positioned. And the second goal, why he decided to come off his line, I don't know.
David Martin, we know that he's not going to come in. It was more of like a point to say, is it something we should look at? I would like, you know what? I'd be all for making that change, because I think today they announced that Fabianski's on track they did cover their backs by the middle to the end of December, so in theory it looks like we're having him in the new year, realistically. So we're going to have another 6-7 weeks of what's happening. And I know what you're saying still, I get it, but listen, we know it's going to be Roberto. Let's move into the back line. Is there I don't see the point in making a change with Creswell personally. I think he was going to stay in there.
Mine would only have been if he changed formation. If you're playing back 4, then you have to play Creswell. If you're playing like with wing backs, I'd play Masuaku.
There's
but 4-4-2,
no,
so be Creswell.
Because we know he will play a 4 at the back. There's
be Creswell.
absolutely no reason to bring Masuaku in.
So Are we all in agreement that Zabaleta's out and Fredericks will be back in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we
Got
think
to.
there's going to be any changes in the centre pairing? Because I did see. I mean, I
think O'Connor will go back in.
I think he'll bring O'Connor back. I don't think Balbuena has shown anything to demonstrate that he's done better.
Well, yeah, as I said, I don't think he should be dropped in the first place.
Yeah.
O'Connor, and since he has been dropped, Balbuena, but O'Connor didn't deserve to be dropped, and Balbuena's done nothing to deserve being in the first team. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
For me, Ogbonna comes back in and you go back to Ogbonna Diop. I don't even rate Diop. I don't like Diop, but he's been our most consistent defender this season.
But like I said earlier, Diop plays better when he plays on the right side of the defensive in the area, defensive area. He looks lost when he's on the left side.
I'm still for keeping Balbuena in there, bring Fredericks back in, and keep a bit of consistency in the defence. But we'll see. Get your comments in. Let us know who you think should come in the back line. Let's move up top. We know Sebastian Haller's going to start, but who's going to be the 4 or 5 other players that will support him? Let's try and round this up in a couple of minutes.
I think it'll be Rice and Snodgrass in the middle.
Yeah,
I think he'll drop Noble for Snodgrass.
Right.
I think he's the only. Honestly, I think he's the only player right now you can't drop his Snodgrass. He's the only one in any sort of form.
Yeah.
Can I make a point on Snodgrass? Right. I can't agree with you anymore. Right. Anymore. Here's a concern though, and I'd like to look at the statistics for this. When Snodgrass is playing like man of the match performances, it's always during a blip in West Ham's form.
I think in fairness to Snodgrass, he's a consistent player. Like, he'll give you a consistent, every week you'll get the same, you know what you're going to get out of him.
Yeah.
And that's not disrespect to Snodgrass, he'll give you a high standard, but we're on form that other players are probably technically better than him. So you lose sight of him and everyone's playing amazingly well.
Yeah.
The second one else we start having a bad run, everyone else is playing so crap that him holding his consistent level, you're going, he's the best player.
And he has scored 2 in the last 2, so...
Yeah.
Right, anyone else then? So Snodgrass and Declan Rice still?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, and like I said earlier, I'd really like to see, just in front of them, I'd like to see Anderson play in the middle alongside or be just behind Haller. And then that would lead, probably, I'd bring Lanzini back and play him just out on the left and Yarmolenko just down the right.
See, I'd be tempted, if you're going to play Anderson in the middle, I'd play Masuaku on the left. In front of Creswell.
I just don't think he'll do it though, man.
To give you a option of pace.
Yeah, no.
I get it, but I think there's going to be too many
What does everyone say about Creswell? When you have the Creswell-Masuaku debate, everyone says Creswell's better defending, Masuaku's got the pace, and he runs at people going forward.
Yeah, the trouble with
Masuaku... if you're dropping... Yeah, but Lanzini offers you no pace on the wing. Yeah. The problem we've had in the last couple of games is there's been no pace on the wings.
But I think we need to rely on the defence to do their job rather than and let the midfielders do their job in terms of going forward. You're the one that said that Burnley are going to be throwing balls into that box left, right and centre. We all are aware that Masuaku isn't the greatest of defence, so I think we need to protect that back line by defending and letting the forward, because we haven't tried Anderson in that position this season. Because like we said, let's bring it back to this time last year when Anderson hit a bit of form. I mean, he was scarily good, scoring amazing goals. He was on fire because he was getting the freedom to do what he needed to do, which was attack through the middle of the park. And that's something I think that Pellegrini needs to be reminded of.
The reason why I just don't agree with this whole Masuaku best going forward debate is because if you look at the stats, like he's not contributed any more assists than Creswell. In fact, on average, Creswell has a better ratio of assists than Masuaku has.
He does.
And what's frustrating with Masuaku is he'll get it to the byline. He'll get it in a position where he's about to cross, and then he doesn't cross because he wants to F around and do his little tricks, and footstep over it and dummies the defender, and before you know it, he's bloody beat himself. That's why I find Masuaku so frustrating. Everyone keeps going on about he's got pace. He's got pace to burn, but he just doesn't know what to do when he gets into that final third of the pitch.
See,
When he should be whipping it in, to Allaire or anyone that's in the box. He wants to mess around to prove how good he is, how flashy he is. And that's why I don't rate him. That's why I've never rated him.
Right.
He actually is, with the stats, and look him up, he is no better than...
the one stat I was going to give you, and I agree
wait,
that...
hold on. Listen, because we're actually really going into the 40th minute of this preview. We'll keep that debate for another day, for another show. Let's get on to the fact that there's a lot of rumours kicking about. Before we do predictions, again, let's round this up really quickly as we can. People are calling for Pellegrini. So, I'm going to put it to each of you and give you a quick 30-second, 45-second roundup of, do you think Pellegrini should go? Why? If he shouldn't go, why? Matt?
I think he needs to start proving why he's getting the money he is. Do I think he'll actually go? No. Golden Sun aren't paying 15 million to walk away.
Short and sweet. Still?
No, he won't go. If we finish mid-table and not much better than the season, he won't see out his last year of contract. If we do improve, the board will be tempted to keep him on.
Yep, I agree. Get your comments in below. I know there's a lot of people in the chat calling for Pellegrini's head, but I think it's a little bit premature. I think there's still time to change things. We've just hit a bit of a slump, but my biggest concern will be the inconsistency in tactics. I suppose we just need to keep an eye on that, and then it's going to be recruitment in January, because in my opinion we did 75% of what we needed to do, but that 25% of the extra was so vital we just didn't do it. Anyway, we'll save that for another show as well. Let's get straight on to our predictions for Saturday's game at Turf Moor against Burnley. Matt?
My heart says we'll win, my head says we'll lose. So I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Interesting. Stelios?
I'm going to be brave enough and say that we're going to have a storming second half after being pounded in the first, and we're going to win 3-2.
I agree, we're going to score 3 goals, and I think we'll win 3-1. Half glass full. That's where I'm at. That is where I'm at.
That's the way you've got to be. There's too many West Ham fans who are half glass empty. You've got to stop this. That's why you stopped looking at social media. That's why I've stopped looking at it. It gets too depressing after a while.
Yeah.
When I know everyone's got a right to have a rant. We all do.
I don't need to listen to it.
But some people don't keep it in perspective. That's the problem. And once one person starts ranting about all the shit, then it snowballs, doesn't it? Kind of escalates, and all of a sudden, before you know it, we're not even. The irony is, we're currently mid-table. We're actually doing not much worse than last season. The irony, let's not forget we had a very bad start to last season. And I'd sooner have this bad run of form now, and then get over it, and then have a storming second half of the season, than get into the end of this season fighting relegation, which I don't think we will. By the way, we're not going to be fighting relegation.
Get your comments in below and let us know your predictions for the game. We'll try and reply to as many as we can. That's been our first preview in I don't know how many, couple of months has it been? I think it has been.
Far too.
Yeah, apologies for not coming out to you. Like we said, life gets in the way and stuff happens, so we will try our best to come back to you with some good shows over the near coming weeks and days. So make sure you keep tuning in to Irons United, hit the subscribe button. We'll come back to you with some new competitions as long as we get some new stuff in. Stel, Matt, anything else you want to say?
No, that's it. Hopefully we win.
Yep, excellent. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, follow us on the socials, although I'm off Twitter, so there's no point in trying to follow me anyway. But follow Matt, I think he's still on it. So he's been Matt, he's been Stel, I've been Anton, we're Irons United. Get behind West Ham. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.